football nowadays. The Chiefs cruised past the Commanders on Monday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes threw for nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the defense was just as dominant, not allowing Washington to score at all in the second half. The result was a 28-7 win for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the Chiefs continue to march back from their 0-2 start to this season. Since then, they won 5 of their last 6 games, with each win coming by double digits. So let's start with you, Jeff Saturday. What did the Chiefs prove to you last night? Inevitability, right? It's coming through Kansas City. And when you think about how good this offense has gotten, really in the last 3 weeks or so, and you see all the pieces and parts, right? Like the injury worthy, him getting healthy, Rice coming back from suspension, what he's done the last couple weeks, Mahomes, Kelsey last night, I called like sneaky old man, like sneaky old man tennis, which I know you love that thing. That's what Kelsey plays, right? Like, he's a great teammate. He's willing to throw the rub in, he's willing to block for a little bit and then leak out and catch these little lead plays. Everybody on this football team is so unselfish. And when you see that type of performance from the Chiefs, you know it's going to all come down to Mahomes, whoever the hot team. Obviously, I think the Colts are the best team in the NFL right now. The scariest team, still the Chiefs. Like, and then the Spags gets a lead. You said it, they shut the Commanders out. I get, no Jane it's still they get 2 turnovers in the first half, and still only gave up 7 points. This team is, it feels inevitable that they're going to be back in. I'm not saying the Super Bowl, back in the action again. It's unreal. Yeah, for me, the Chiefs proved last night that they are one of the 2 best teams in the AFC. It's Kansas City, Indianapolis, draw line, and then everybody else. What Patrick Mahomes is doing is otherworldly, Stephen A. Last night marked his 3rd straight game with 3+ passing touchdowns. Last time he did that was the 2021 season when he had Tyreek Hill on the roster. Right, he leads the league in passing yards and completions outside of the pocket. So his ability to be able to extend it down takes this offense. Say that again. He's not a quick runner. He's not like a duo, but outside the pocket, he leads the league in passing yards and completions outside of the pocket. So it really makes him a cheat code for Andy, and it's frustrating for defensive linemen and opposing defensive coordinators because you can't plan for the improvisation that Mahomes brings to the party. Yeah, last night, the distribution and touches, four different runners with design runs, catches by 6 different receivers. You don't know where it's coming from with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the scary proposition about this team, Doggy, is that the offense is not even the best phase of the football team. Right? Jeff Saturday just told you. The game was decided early on when the Washington Commanders had 3 straight possessions plus 40 and got 0 points out of it. That defense, while they don't have gaudy stats, they don't make a lot of mistakes, not a lot of blown assignments, don't allow explosive plays, and they're short tackles. That is why the Kansas City Chiefs are inevitable, and why we should expect them in the championship round. Oh, I had the over, so I didn't need those plays. I just got the 40 over. 48, and it's bad to feel. They're full of 40 hits on a couple of times. Please, it's probably crazy. I'll throw a little cold water on it, and I generally agree with the both of you. What you said, you both know much more about that. He knows something about offensive football. You know a lot about defensive football, so the both of you know more about it than I do, but I'll say one thing about the Chiefs. They haven't played Denver yet, right? They have them twice. One's on Christmas night, which would be a big game. Then they're at Kansas City, this is the night. They got the Colts at home, and this is a hard game this week in Buffalo. Yes. So they got, and they've already lost 3 games, right? So, they're 2 back to the Colts for the home field. They lose to Buffalo this week. They do 2.5 back to them because the Bills only have 2 losses. So they still got a lot of work to do, for sure, to put them in a situation where they don't have to play a wild card game and they get home field and everything else. But I understand they can win on the road. But I'm not worried about that. What's crazy about that is this is the first week that they're in the play, like they would be in the play already first, which is insane, right? I mean, you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, and it took them 8 weeks through the year to get into the playoff line. But again, you're watching this team form, and last night was impressive. I found myself very disappointed in it. Oh, here we go. I just do. Okay, let me throw this out first. They started out 0-2, they won 5 of their last 6. When I'm looking at them offensively, first in yards per game at 415.8, third in scoring at 30.8 points per game since Xavier Worthy returned in week 4. Kansas City deserves props for that. Over the last 3 games, they've outscored their opponents 89-24. Who are those 3 opponents? Agreed. They got the Lions, okay, which has some injuries, But then after that, the Raiders and the Commanders without Jaden Daniels, okay, and no Brandon. I'm like, come on, y'all. I mean, over the last 2 weeks, who have they really played? Right. And so we have to look at it from that side. I expect Sergeant Friday, a.k.a. Jeff Saturday. I expect Chris Canty, who wakes America up in the morning, number one doing in America, I expect a full critique. I expect you guys to sit up there and say, let's hold the horses because they got Buffalo coming up this week. Okay, let's see what they do against Josh Allen and the crew. I don't expect everybody to be sitting there bloviating about what they did against the Commanders and the Raiders last week, okay? You gave up 7 points over the last 2 weeks. That's why you got one of the top rated defenses right now. Because you went against 2 teams that can't score. I mean, that's what happened. We all know that. Who ain't gonna stop Marcus Mariota right now? Who ain't gonna stop Geno Smith and the Raiders right now? I expect my man CeCe, he terrorizes people from 6 a.m. I just terrorizes people. You say you're an 8 a.m. just acting like you're doing an A-list at 8 a.m. with the pancakes and everything. But you come on first take, and I dare say y'all were a little bit too nice. No, I'm just sprinkling flowers all over it. And he need a number 1 team. For sure, I'm just saying, the point that I'm making is you figured that, well, Kansas City, well, wait a minute, I'm looking at Indy and I'm going like this. That ain't who the Chiefs played the last 2 weeks. Agreed. Okay, agreed. I will say this now. They missed 2 offensive linemen Kansas City did last night. And they still played. You saw how much time they gave Patrick Mahomes. I don't care who you're playing. That's the and Washington played him man early, and they got him out of man in the second half. I think that what I was impressed with was a slow start with the 2 interceptions, one off of Kelsey's hands, and then you watch the progression of them go back to work. I think that's the part that we all go, that's the Chiefs because of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Listen, we can say whatever we want. Patrick Mahomes makes the incredible look coming. And that is just a hard thing to overcome because when it comes down to big games and big moments, it feels like those guys find ways to make plays. Somebody has to unseat the champ. You love combat sports. At some point, I'm not saying it's people are going to travel in Kansas City, but you're going to have to knock them out. They ain't going to give up and just go back because they got some tough games. They're going to be there in the mix, and that's going to be tough for anybody. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Who has the number 1 seed in the AFC? May very well come down to this next stretch of games. Yes, over the next month of football, they got 3 opponents, the Bills, the Broncos, and the Colts. They got a bye week sandwich in between that. How they handle this stretch is determined whether or not they have a chance to be up. Here's what I will say. If I'm the Indianapolis Colts, every game is a priority because I want to make sure that the road to the Super Bowl comes through our house. I do not want to be Indy and I'm stuck putting Daniel Jones in a situation where you got a quarterback at Arrowhead Stadium in a major playoff situation. I want that game in Indy. That to me should be the number 1 priority. It should be locked focus on that doggy. Listen, Jeff, take it easy on the Colts. They beat Tennessee twice. They beat Miami. They beat the Raiders. Those are the 4 worst teams. They beat Denver and they should have lost. Don't give me that leverage penalty was a terrible coach. They should have won. I understand, but I'm going to have a little fun. So take the Rams. They should have won the Rams. Alright, so they're still got one. They beat Tennessee twice. Miami. They're on the schedule. Unbelievably easy. Part of that is fair. However, they're not just beating people. They beat the brakes off of them. They hanging 40s. They're putting some numbers. Their point differential in the NFL is the best in the league. I don't care who you're playing in the NFL. You are putting up points each week. They're scoring like 65% of their plays among the drives. That's insane. I don't care who you're playing. That is hard to do. 2005, I think we had a few more points. But they're getting there. You know what I mean? This team is, I like what they're doing, and you can tell their confidence is being built. As Blue Eyes has been a little bit kind this morning. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't called me back the way he usually soft right there. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Has this become a lost season Kansas is going that way, Stephen A. Going that way.